The emergency beacon pulsed through subspace like a dying heartbeat. Kevin adjusted his scanner as the rescue shuttle descended through the sulfuric clouds of mining. Station Theta 7 beside him. Jasmine checked her oxygen reserves for the third time. For life signs, Kevin confirmed, his voice tight, deep in shaft 9. But the readings are strange. Jasmine glanced at the thermal display. Strange how hot, really hot, like plasma forge hot. The Drakari miners had been missing for 6 standard days. Their distress call had been brief, garbled, something about a collapse and old things waking. The mining consortium had written them off as dead. But humans didn't leave people behind. That was the rule Kevin lived by. The rule that had cost him his military career when he'd disobeyed orders to extract civilians from a war zone. The shuttle's landing struts crunched against scorched rock. The mine entrance gaped before them like a wound in the planet's surface. "You don't have to come," Kevin said, gathering his equipment. Jasmine's brown eyes flashed. "We've been partners for 3 years. You think I'm staying in the shuttle now?" They descended into darkness. The mine's emergency lights had failed. Their helmet lamps cut narrow beams through dust that hung in the air like fog. Kevin's scanner led them deeper, past abandoned excavation equipment and ore carts frozen mid-transport. The temperature climbed with every meter. "This doesn't make sense," Jasmine muttered, checking her reader. "The planet's core is kilometers away. Where's this heat coming from?" Kevin didn't answer. His attention had fixed on the walls. Something had melted them smooth, transforming rough-hewn stone into glass. And in that glass, he saw serpentine forms pressed against rock as if trying to break through. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber. 4 creatures filled the darkness. They were magnificent and terrible, each easily 50 meters long. Their scales shimmered with colors that had no names in human language. Wings folded against their bodies like collapsed sails. Their eyes ancient, intelligent, furious, fixed on the humans with the weight of eons. Dragons, actual, impossible dragons. And beneath them, pressed against the chamber floor in postures of worship or surrender, were the 4 Drakari miners. "Kevin," Jasmine whispered, "we need to leave, now." But Kevin's feet had rooted to the stone. He'd seen those eyes before on prisoners of war, on hostages, on people who'd given up hope. The Drakari weren't worshipping. They were prisoners, their minds caught in some psychic web he could barely comprehend. The largest dragon spoke. Its voice bypassed his ears entirely, resonating directly in his skull. "More cattle arrive. Good. We hunger." "They're not cattle," Kevin said. His voice sounded small in the vast chamber, but he forced it steady. "We've come for the miners. Let them go." Laughter like avalanches rolled through his mind. "You understand nothing. Small thing, we are the eldest. We slept in this world's bones since before your sun ignited. The miners dug too deep and woke us. Now they serve. As will you." Kevin felt the pressure then, a massive crushing presence trying to force its way into his thoughts. Images flooded his mind, eons of darkness, dreams of fire and conquest, hunger that spanned galaxies. The dragons had ruled once, before the galaxy's younger races rose. They'd slept through ages, waiting for the moment to reclaim their dominion. Beside him, Jasmine gasped and fell to her knees. "No." Kevin grabbed her shoulder, and something in that touch, that human connection, gave him an anchor. He pushed back against the mental assault with every ounce of stubborn human willpower he possessed. "I said no." The dragons recoiled slightly, surprised. Kevin pressed his advantage. He thought of every person he'd saved, every extraction he'd completed against impossible odds. He thought of the human colony on Proxima that had survived extinction because one person refused to give up. He thought of Jasmine, who'd followed him into hell because humans didn't abandon their partners. "You ruled once," Kevin said, his words coming stronger now. "But that was then. The galaxy has moved on. We've built civilizations while you slept. We've learned that strength isn't about domination, it's about choosing to protect those who can't protect themselves." "Brave words," the dragon rumbled. "But words cannot stop us. When we break free from this chamber, when we spread across the stars, again, you're not breaking free," Kevin interrupted. He pulled out the mining charges he'd brought for emergency excavation. "This chamber has one entrance. We collapse it, and you're sealed in until someone can figure out how to deal with you properly. You would bury yourself alive to stop us, if that's what it takes." Kevin looked at Jasmine, who'd struggled back to her feet. "Get the miners out." "Kevin." "No, that's an order, partner." For a moment, time froze. Then Jasmine moved, grabbing the first Drakari miner and shaking him from his trance. The psychic hold broke like shattering glass. The dragons roared, their fury shaking the chamber. Stone cracked. Ancient supports groaned. Kevin placed the charges methodically, his hands steady despite the mental assault battering his mind. He'd always known he'd die doing this job. Better here, protecting people, than old and comfortable in bed. "Kevin." Jasmine had reached the tunnel with all 4 miners. "Come on." He looked at her one last time, memorizing her face. Then he smiled. "Tell them the story, right? Okay. About the human who was too stubborn to let monsters win." The charges detonated. 3 weeks later, Jasmine stood before the Galactic Rescue Coalition's memorial wall. Kevin's name had been added, along with a simple inscription. He stayed so others could leave. The Drakari miners had testified about what happened. The mining consortium had sealed Shaft 9 permanently, encasing it in quantum-locked concrete that would last 10,000 years. The dragons slept again, their dreams contained. Jasmine placed her hand on Kevin's name. Other humans had tried to stop her from going into that mine, but she'd learned from her partner that being human meant doing the impossible when it mattered most. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but it had humans in it, now stubborn, brave, foolish humans who refused to leave anyone behind, even when staying meant forever end.